Oh, there
Hey,
we
here we
are.
are. Hey everyone, how you doing?
Greetings, everybody.
I'm here with Chadwick's channel of stuff, and we're here to talk about creepy and weird 70s, mostly 70s, maybe a little at the tail end of the 60s and a little into the early 80s.
Yeah,
TV, terrors, horror movies, weird, creepy stuff. How you doing, Chadwick?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to do my very first ever live stream. So we'll see. Hopefully,
Well,
I
I'm
won't put
glad
my
that you
foot in my mouth
agreed to
too
jump
much.
on.
Yeah,
So let's see. You're in somewhere in. Are you in the Bay Area, Los Angeles? Where are
San
you at?
Francisco Bay Area, east of the
Right,
Caldecott Tunnel, in the foothills of Mount Diablo. So
Mount Diablo. Well, that's very appropriate. So
yes,
I've been to San Francisco a couple of times. Lovely city, probably my favorite city in the United States that I've seen. But it is, from my memory of the friends I had down there, it is really expensive to live in the at least anywhere
yeah,
in the downtown area, I guess.
yeah. The tech boom didn't do it any favors, and which was but yeah, it's really really expensive, kind of like Manhattan Island expensive. So
Well, people always think that Japan is expensive, and it's not, cheap, but comparatively speaking, it's much cheaper to live here than I think even in the little podunk hometown area in Washington State where I'm from. We have a few people. Welcome. We got Eriko. Hi, Eriko. This is going to be spooky. Yeah, it might be. We hope so anyway. And we got Rob from L Space. Hey, Rob, let the terror begin. All right. And Eriko says, what does he say here? Trying to remember all the TV shows I saw as a child that were creepy. I can't remember them. I'm discovering a lot of British 70s creepy TV shows thanks to YouTube. Yeah, I that's something I've discovered as a as an adult in the last decade or so, all these cool, creepy British stuff. And we'll mention a few of them for sure.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
Star Crash must be the poster. Is there a poster behind you there? Star
that's right.
Crash?
Star
Oh,
Crash
yeah.
and the car, showing
And
that
the car.
my
Yeah, I remember
taste
seeing
in
the car.
yeah,
Star
showing that my
Crash.
taste in cinema is impeccable. So
Yes, exactly. Yes, two masterpieces of cinema there. But Star Crash has one masterpiece in the center there, which with of course Carolyn Monroe. Uh,
yes, and you can
she
see
is
Marjo Gortner in the. It's not a lightsaber; it's a light sword
yes.
pose.
Don't call it a lightsaber. Marjo Gortner and his hair, his white man afro or whatever it was. Okay, well, thank you for those who are here. We got 4 watchers. Thank you very much. And let's get
Already, wow.
started. So, we're going to talk about mostly, I would say, TV movies of the week, predominantly the ABC TV movie of the week, but also in some from NBC. We were just discussing earlier, Chad, that CBS didn't seem to want to dirty its fingers there in the pool, the shallow pool of genre so much.
No, I didn't. It's I misremember a lot. When I go back and find these ads, when I go through the newspapers, I'm like, oh, I thought that was at a different time or on a different station. But
Yeah.
yeah, CBS
I was trying to
didn't.
remember when I actually became aware of which station was doing what, and I
Yeah.
I I was a TV nerd from movie nerd from an early age, so I'm sure I caught it pretty early. But a lot of these I'm going to go by memory of seeing them, but not knowing exactly when I saw them. My memory isn't maybe as good as yours there, Chad. But
Well, in my defense, I've actually been going through old newspaper ads and oh, why don't you give me a paper cut and pour some lemon juice on it?
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. So
So, I'm
don't cry. It's okay.
I'm okay, man. It's
I'm
fine.
okay. Rob's
Um,
bullying me with his cool Stella Star
with this
action
cool
figure.
stuff. Um, I've been going back and I'm learning there's like, oh, that was on ABC or that was on NBC or that was that, this was, we had, I think, in the Bay Area that we had like 6 channels. No, maybe 7. There was the networks, Channel 4, NBC, Channel 5, CBS, and then Channel 7, which was ABC. Channel 2 was KTVU, which was a local broadcasting outfit, and that's where you had like Creature Features with Bob Wilkins and John Stanley.
Right.
And then on the UHF stations, there was Channel 44 and there was TV 20. And then I think we had like the PBS station, Channel 9. And I think that
So
was
those
it.
UHF channels were kind of like also local broadcasters.
Yeah, they were both local. Yeah. Yeah.
Because where I was growing up in, we picked up, we were kind of in between where I was, the Portland and Seattle stations, so I could get them both. Usually the Portland one's a little bit better, but I don't remember having much access to UHF stuff. But we had KSTW at Channel 11 in Seattle, which showed all the Jungle Theater and Three Stooges and the westerns and comedy shows from the 60s and 50s and stuff. And so to me, it was just all TV. So I watched a bunch of stuff. And
there was like, you just knew, you just knew that like, I think it was Channel 44. They had like an Abbott and Costello theater every Saturday at like.
We had Sci-Fi Theater. Did you have a Sci-Fi Theater?
We had KTVU had Chiller Diller and the Saturday afternoon.
You had cooler names than we had.
Yeah, 44 had the Monstrous Movie. Ooh. And then in the late 70s, Bob Wilkins left Creature Features, I think, or he might have been doing dual hosting, but he donned a really goofy costume, and for the afternoon programming block on KTVU, they did a show called Captain Cosmic, and that's where he introduced me to the glories of anime. There was like, I think, Star Blazers, which was, I believe, Battleship Yamamoto, but
yes, I remember Star Blazers. Every Monday or weekday morning I would watch an episode of that.
And then he would also show like Spectre Man, who the theme of which I still remember. Ultraman.
I don't remember Spectre Man. Ultraman, yeah.
See the flash like a flame, faster than a plane, a mystery with the name Spectre Man. So yeah, I watched that show.
That sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't. I don't remember the title.
It was evidently produced by Mel Wells, who played Mushnik in the original Little Shop of Horrors. I think he was from the Corman Institute of Film and Television.
Well, we didn't have the cool names. We had things like Kung Fu Theater, which was Saturday evenings, and then we had Jungle Theater. I think I mentioned Sci-Fi Theater, which I always try to catch. That's where I saw lots of cool old 60s and 50s monster movies and things. The Bowery Boys, I don't think it had a name, but they played the Bowery Boys, which Jungle Jim. Oh, we had Jungle Theater with Tarzan movies and Jungle Jim and Bomba the Jungle Boy. It was a good time to grow up. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it was. There was an embarrassment of riches that just, you never.
We just didn't have access. Now we can have access at our fingertips, but there's a little something missing about, catching it live when you're homesick from during a week school day, or looking at the TV guide and circling what you want to watch or whatever.
It's like I can even remember. I'm like, I remember get so excited when that came on. I never missed it. So something like Legend of Hell House or something. I was like, I got to see that.
Well, let's talk. You sent a whole bunch of cool TV guide ads. Speaking of TV guide for a lot of these movies, but you want to talk a little bit about the ABC movie of the week. Seems to have kicked off in 1969, from what I could tell on internet research, that the first one was September 23rd, and it was Seven in Darkness. No, it wasn't a horror movie. It was Milton Berle, I think, was in the cast. It was a plane crash on an island, and the 7 survivors are all blind, and they have to try to survive on the island. And that was followed then in the next week by the pilot for The Immortal, starring Christopher George. Now, I believe this had, what was the very good actor's name who was the bad guy there? Anyway, it doesn't explain really. Somehow he's locked in at age 40, but Christopher George plays a character who has his blood is a kind of healing blood. He's in a car accident because he's a race car driver. Christopher George apparently liked to drive around anyway. He does a lot of his old driving stunts in this show, and he uh, the doctors find that his blood heals him, and he's never been sick in his life. And then the word of this gets out to this rich guy who's dying, and he sends his henchmen out to kidnap him. And he offers him a life of luxury, but he has to, and lots of money, but he has to stay in this compound to give occasional transfusions to this guy. And of course, Christopher George escapes, and he has a girlfriend played by Carol Lindley, who we might talk about it when we get to the Night Stalker. And I think, Ralph Bellamy plays a doctor. It's a really good cast and a really good movie. The TV show is not quite as good, as a little bit of a fugitive redux in a way, like a lot of those shows were. But Christopher George is a likable lead, and there's always a good-looking girl and some fist fights, and some friends of mine have joked that Christopher George manages to get in a fist fight and kiss a good-looking woman every episode. And his wife or wife-to-be, Linda Day George, is in one episode as well. So that's the earliest ones. And then those were quickly followed by a lot of the other memorable ones we'll talk about later. Any comments you want to make on the ABC TV movies gestation there, Chad?
No, not really. I didn't. I was so busy just trying to find titles that I didn't really go with like the networks. So I will say that it's interesting you mentioned the Immortal, because over on NBC in 1969 is when they aired the pilot for Night Gallery, which of course became a failed attempt at a follow-up to the Twilight Zone. But
although I do like some of the episodes there, and that first TV movie is quite good. One young Steven Spielberg directing Joan Crawford in one of the I should say one of the stories.
Yeah,
I think there's three. Yeah. So was that did you say the second pilot or the first?
No, the second story.
Second story
in the pilot, Eyes. Yeah,
right.
With Tom
Eyes,
Bosley.
yeah. That's right. And Joan Crawford apparently, once she realized, that how nervous Steven Spielberg was and saw that he had talent, she befriended him and worked really hard to get the crew on his side. So, that's so. Also in '69 at NBC was the first of two movies with Louis Jourdan, Fear No Evil, followed by a couple years, or I guess a year later, in 1970, by Ritual of Evil. And speaking of Linda Day George, this also has Bradford Dillman and Carol O'Connor. And Louis Jourdan plays psychiatrist taking on kind of a satanic cult and a demon-possessed mirror. So that's a very good one. That was one that was really hard to find and see until Kino Lorber put out this great two movie set. Okay, we have let's see, we have something from Rob going through the TV guide and circling the cool shows. Yeah, I think in a lot of British, we don't probably have any British viewers at the moment, but British fans have often talked about doing the same with the Radio Times or the TV Times for ITV. So, things that the kids nowadays go, huh? But what's that?
Or the crushing disappointment of like finding a listing for something and you're like, it's on channel 40, and that's like out of our range. That's a Sacramento station,
or something that I can't pick up. Yeah, I had a lot of that with Canadian stations that I could see in my TV guide, but I couldn't pick up. I was wondering, what the hell is that show? Well, just a quick, I'll just run through real quick some titles that appeared on the ABC movie of the week, all TV movies. So after the Immortal, there was several, they did a lot of different ones. There's a lot of famous ones that weren't horror or mystery based necessarily. There's dramas and some comedies. The Over the Hill Gang and the Over the Hill Gang Returns was one of one of the ones that appeared here. But plus a lot of pilots for TV shows. I think I found pilots for the three pilot movies for the $6 Million Man and Longstreet, if you remember Longstreet, with what's his name? James Franciscus as the blind detective. Bruce Lee played a guy who taught him how to fight in a couple episodes. The Rookies, the cop show The Rookies, Beretta, the backdoor pilot for Beretta, Kung Fu, Starsky and Hutch, Wonder Woman. So obviously it was a good place to, and a lot of unsold pilots as well.
A lot of
Uh, but I'd love to see all of these. There's some that I have seen, but in 1970 on this, ABC TV movie of the week, they had Daughter of the Mind, How Awful About Alan, The House That Would Not Die, and Crowhaven Farm. Do you have any memories of any of those?
It's interesting. I did make notations of Crowhaven Farm
Yeah, I
and
think I have.
The House That Would Not Die. Although I honestly did not know that How Awful About Alan was an ABC movie of the week. I thought it was just a movie that had been that. But I saw Crowhaven Farm on the I think it was on the 3:30 movie when ABC's 3:30 movie syndicated
Oh,
thing. But I do remember um, there is it has to do, it's a folk horror movie and it has to do with witchcraft and this old farm. And there's a scene, I do remember a scene where Hope Lang is having a flashback to being pressed to death by
ooh,
during a witch trial, like the Salem witch trial, where they just pile the stones on top of the board and
that
she's
sounds really
underneath it.
nasty.
Yeah. And I think I remember the ending. A lot of the movies here, one of the things also going through is like how many had just like iconic final images in them that's
Oh
seared.
yeah,
Yeah. But and I remember seeing a snippet of The House That Would Not Die, but not really knowing what it was. And many, many years later, like going, oh, that's what that was. But I do remember seeing Crowhaven Farm and being creeped out by it. So
well, that's one I've never seen even to this day. A lot of these I've caught up with, in recent years,
yeah,
as they become more available, like Fear No Evil and Ritual of Evil. But and sometimes I also, because ABC also had a Sunday night movie, and that's where I saw stuff like, speaking of Carol Monroe, At the Earth's Core,
yeah,
and a bunch of other movies that get blended in with my memory, and I have to decide, is now I know it's not a TV movie or not. After that year, 1971, they had Dr. Cook's Garden with Bing Crosby as a homicidal
oh,
doctor that buried
that's
victims in his backyard in his garden. Did you ever see or hear of that one?
I know Ira Levin wrote it.
Oh,
I believe.
Rosemary and
Yeah,
Baby.
yeah.
Wow.
And it's one that I remember. What the only thing I remember about it is I think the opening where you see Bing Crosby walk out into his garden and he plucks a flower and he looks around tearfully. That's the one thing that I remember from it.
Wow, that's
But
that's good. You have a trace of memory
yeah,
about that.
so
Well, I guess then that leads us to 1972 and the Night Stalker. A couple uh, of our we're a couple of major fans of Kolchak, the Night Stalker series, and of course the movie. Now you sent some very good. Let's see. Um, I think you sent me some really good files here, so let me try to
yeah,
add those. Um, there we go. Now, this movie was at the time, I believe, the highest rated TV movie in history, and of course,
yeah,
it held that record for quite some time. I'm sure it lost it sometime in the
at
80s, if
some
I
point.
recall.
But it's weird because and I'm saying that with no pun intended, because I go through the newspaper, and there's no ads for either the Night Stalker or the Night Strangler in there.
That's
That
very
and maybe they were
strange.
in the TV guide, but the thing was is that and let's see, you mentioned you did a flip through. I also have the Night Stalker Home Companion,
Oh, sorry. Here,
but
let me.
oh yeah,
I'll
there
make you
we go.
bigger if you want to show that. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Operator error. Here we go.
There we
Okay.
go. But yes, this is the second edition that was published around the
Pomegranate
time
Press,
of the
right?
X-Files. There was a small press edition that has the image from the fifth episode, the werewolf, where he's sitting in front of the Queen Mary. But
Yeah, no, I remember. I have the same, the second edition, which I think is revised and is also unfortunately long out of print and overly expensive now.
I know. No, I'll be buried with this. The but the thing was that they didn't. I think Wadaziak. I hope I didn't crash his name, but he mentioned that when it aired, it was just another movie of the week. That ABC was completely blindsided by the ratings that they got on it, and this thing did. I guess by comparison, you could say this thing did got the kind of uh, reaction that Jaws or Star Wars did in terms of their ticket sales, in terms of the viewership. They were just like,
Right.
what? But
Yeah.
it was something that just,
let's get another one right away.
yeah. And,
Yeah.
do you want to talk about the other one now or want to wait till we get to 1973?
No, that's fine. We can talk about it now. Did you send me anything for the Night Strangler? I don't think I put anything up.
I don't think I did. Let me actually.
But I can show, I have the Kino Lorber Blu-ray editions of both of them. I had the DVD flipper, which you probably remember for a long time, or for having as well. This is with newer art, new commissioned art, and
yeah,
and nicely done. And I think the Night Stalker is the best by far, but I think Night Strangler is, sometimes people kind of poo-poo it as, oh, it's just following the same exact story style as the Night Stalker, but it does, but it fleshes it out. It's got a lot more humor, especially if you watch the extended version. It's filmed in Seattle, which where I was born. So I think that's a really great TV movie too.
Yeah, I went to when Tanya and I first met. She was going to a conference up in Seattle, and
that's for sure.
I was like, I got to go to Seattle, man. Night Strangler. And she's like, what the heck is a Night Strangler? And I said, but I need to go to the underground. I got to take a tour of the underground.
And you were sorely disappointed, I'm sure.
Yeah. And we went on the tour of the underground, and the tour guide was all talking about, oh yeah, they shot this old show. They shot an old TV movie here. It was called the Night
Strangler.
And had a whole bunch of vampires down here. And I was just like,
it wasn't vampires.
It was the Night Strangler. He wasn't a vampire. He was an alchemist. I said, I should go over and talk to him. And Tanya's like, no, you shouldn't. So she saved me the geek embarrassment. But evidently, I still have pictures, but he claimed that they did do some location shooting in the actual underground. And they left props there. And he claimed that there was this ottoman and this little sitting thing was an actual prop from the Night Strangler. But I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if it's true or not, but
there might have been cool. There might have been a prop that they had kept. There were some, most of it I think was filmed. Someone was telling me, or I was reading somewhere, that it was some kind of famous location in Los Angeles, or maybe somewhere in Universal Studios, that people could recognize it from the tour. That's
they did do the lair of Malcolm's lair, or Dr. Malcolm, Dr. Richard Malcolm, Dr. Malcolm Richards. He changed his name a lot. His lair was actually the Bradbury building. When they went in the underground, and then he went through it, they transitioned, and of course it suddenly, I'm like, that's the Bradbury building.
Bradbury building, that makes sense. Look at this. They couldn't even be bothered to put a photo there. That's interesting. That's a bit strange, isn't it? Well, and then of course later I think the Night Strangler was 73, and then the series came in 74. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah. No, I'm notorious. I'll apologize to you and everybody else. I'm notorious for my ADHD digressions, but when they were developing the Night Strangler, when they went, one of the and this is covered in Wadaziak's book, but one of the original ideas was that it was going to be Jack the Ripper, and
right.
Richard
Which
Matheson
they eventually used, of course. Yeah.
Richard Matheson didn't want to do that because he felt that the concept bore too close of a resemblance to his friend Robert Bloch's story, yours truly, Jack the
Truly
Ripper.
Jack the Ripper, yeah.
So he kind of changed it around. But even with the Night Strangler, as good as and well written as that is, Matheson was struggling to be fresh with it. And when the Night Strangler did gangbusters, the plan had been to do another TV movie.
Yeah, is that the one about the aliens in Hawaii or something?
Robots in Hawaii.
Robots.
And it's called The Night Killers. And I just so happen to have the script.
Oh, nice. It's a Matheson script.
Yes.
Wow, look at that. It's a big hardback version too. Yeah. Let me make you bigger so you can show that sucker off. That's I knew of the script, but I didn't know there was a massive script book. Wow.
Yeah, this is cool. From Gauntlet Press, and as you can see, John O. Scorzeny and everything there. And they have all the background on it. Wow,
have you read the script? Would it have been good? Because I have a feeling that maybe if they had made a couple more TV movies and not a series, it might be even more fondly remembered. But maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, but
I think the series has so many fans, as cheesy as it can be, that maybe it's better that it actually turned out as it did.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to have seen that additional movie made before the series if that was possible.
It was very much in line with both the Night Stalker and the Night Strangler. It was a direct sequel to the Night Strangler, brought back a lot of the characters. John Carradine's character comes back.
Was Joanne Flug going to come back? Good old Joanne Flug. Joanne Flug, was she going to come back?
I don't.
Back when they actually let Kolchak have some cojones and chase women, because he's like a Catholic schoolboy pretty much in the series. The only thing he ever does in the series
girls
related to that is
for girls.
Yeah, is one time he lasciviously tries to take a secret sniff of redhead. What is her name in the Primal Scream episode? Brick House actress. Oh, what was her name? She later went on to, I think, Webster or something. Not Webster? I'm mixing her up. But anyway, Barbara Rhodes. Barbara Rhodes is who I was thinking of.
So he's like
from the Shakiest Gun in the West, and so he was like sniffing her hair. She's a receptionist at a lab or something. But yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. We got some some more comments. Let's catch up with those real quick.
Alrighty.
You might want to show that script book again so Chris from Little Spaces can see it, because he seems here. Let's see. Talk about a perfect choice for a wife. Me and Mrs. L Space binged the Night Stalker on our first date. Knew she was a keeper. Yeah. Thanks, Chad, for putting that up. We got Chris from Liminal Spaces. TV Terrors. Yes, if you can remember some of these old movies. How's everyone doing this evening? We're doing great, Chris. Glad you can join us. Kolchak Scripts paying me back for the Stella Star Envy. Yes, right back at you, Rob. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Okay. All right. And hey, Rob. Okay, good. Well, we got Chris here. Thanks for stopping in, Chris. We're just talking about, TV movies of the week. And now we're on Kolchak, the Night Stalker, or at least the movies. Now, I don't know if do you have the Blu-ray of
No, I have the DVD box set. I didn't get the Blu-ray yet, but this is.
I have that too. It's expensive, but if you next Kino sale, I highly recommend it, because not only does every episode get a commentary track, if you're into that kind of thing. Yeah, every single episode. I believe the one with the Rakshasa, Horror of the Heights, has 2, possibly. There's 21 audio commentary tracks. They were finally bullied into, because they weren't going to include him at all, which is ridiculous. They finally, fan backlash got them to have Mark DeWidziak record a commentary for The Ripper, the first episode.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and he provides I think he does the liner notes to a booklet. I believe this has a booklet. I can't recall. Let's see if I can find it in here. Yeah, whoa. And the episodes look great. That the DVD set unfortunately doesn't look really fantastic. We got a little booklet here.
Yeah.
With some
Oh
photos
yeah.
and text by Dwidziak. The truth is in here. Do you see that? Because of course, avid X-Files fans will also know that Chris Carter is on record as saying, what a huge um, influence on him and that show, Kolchak the Night Stalker, was. I really wish that there was a lot of bad blood, I guess, between everyone, and McGavin did not remember his time on the show fondly and refused to play Kolchak on the X Files. He had to have a new character created by Chris Carter for him, which is asinine. I think he should have done it. How great would have been to see Kolchak and Mulder together? My God,
Yeah.
can you imagine it?
Yeah.
Can
McGavin
you imagine it?
was a bit of a strange bird in that regard, but
Yeah,
it was
he wanted,
evident one
he
one of
wanted
the
to go
things.
his own way with that show. If you read about it, as I know you know very well, Chad, there was a lot of backstage infighting between the producers and the studio and Darren McGavin, and they were almost like two units working against each other and making the show. It's amazing that it came out as well as it did, frankly.
It is. It's one of those shows that knowing um, the though having gotten the background in the Dwozek book, it you can actually see the stress fractures in it when you're
Oh
watching the
yeah,
show as it goes. You can say, "Oh, yeah, I totally see that now." Yeah,
thank God
I
they
mean,
had
it
David
doesn't.
Chase there to kind of you know even things out a bit as a script
Yeah,
editor.
it was like he wrote some great scripts, but the I also thought it was funny the amount of like uh genre royalty, or at least some of the genre adjacent royalty. That was it. Jimmy
Oh yeah,
Sangster
was it?
wrote a
And
script.
also Bob Gale and Richard Zemeckis, right?
Yes, they wrote the story that became Chopper. That was
Which
their
is
first
really
sale.
which is not one of the better episodes. Hey, how you doing, Mark?
Hello.
Glad
Yeah,
you're
I
no
remember.
problem.
Have you ever read Dance Macabre by Stephen King?
Oh yeah, that's my favorite Stephen King book. It
Yeah,
sounds
because
funny
he
you
he
say,
really
but
takes a sledgehammer to poor
yeah, I
Kolchak,
don't
and
like that. Yeah,
it's just
that
like, dude,
he should take
did he
that
spit in
back.
your socks or something? What happened?
Yeah, I I guess because he's from an earlier generation. Because our generation would not have generally felt that way about Kolchak for sure. So
Yeah, I just thought
um,
he was the most awesome thing ever. A smart mouthed guy that fought off against monsters, but wasn't,
yeah,
you know.
what I realize now when I watch it is he's a dick. He's a real dick, most of the time. That seems to be the same one. No, no. This
This
is
is for
this
yeah,
is Primal Scream.
Primal
Yeah,
Scream. Yeah, which and then yeah, it was interesting because around episode 7, which was the Devil's Platform, which had Tom Skerritt, who most
right.
people will know from Alien. He was
Picket,
Captain Dallas.
right, and
Plays
picket fences.
a politician who has sold his soul to
Sells
the
his
devil,
soul to the devils, and then he's
and it kind of
eliminating his,
predates.
and he can turn into a dog. In fact, he gets stuck at in a
Yeah,
dog
he
form for a
turns
while.
into a Rottweiler. So honestly,
Yeah,
the Omen basically
prescient.
just ripped off Kolchak. Come on,
Yeah,
I'm gonna call it.
obviously.
You know, but there was an article in that the Oakland Tribune reprinted about Kolchak, and it was kind of a pseudo review of the Devil's Platform episode, and the critic was talking about, evidently the 74-75 TV season was a real, the ratings for across the board were just abysmal, and it was like a bloodbath on television, and that
Yeah,
it
he
was something
definitely
of a
didn't do
surprise
well.
that Kolchak was still on the air, given its ratings, and that was even at like episode 7. So
Well, I wonder if it was that kind of a season, if they would have continued it over if McGavin didn't pull the plug himself. Now, I have heard that ABC wasn't happy with the ratings and probably would have canceled it anyway, but
yeah,
it's possible if everything was in the toilet, then they might, but that one is such a pain in their ass, I'm sure, their collective
yeah,
studio asses with everything and McGavin just said, I want out. So
right.
they got
You
to
know,
20 episodes though.
yeah, there and again, probably getting ahead of myself or ourselves, but um there was Moonstone Comics did there were two episodes that were in development, and Moonstone Comics did comic
Was
adaptations
there only
of
two? I thought there were three. I thought there were three possible.
well, there might have been. I mean, 22 episodes is usually was kind of like the standard
Yeah,
number.
22,
There could
24
have
at
been
that
another
time.
one, but there were two scripts that were definitely near completion for filming. The one that was on the slate to follow the century was The Git of Belial.
Yeah, the Get a Belial. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have an
Which
actual script book of that as well?
no, this is a comic book adaptation.
All right, Moonstone did a lot of comics, right? As well
Yeah.
as a couple
So
of, I think they did Dwidziak's novel Grave Secrets as well, didn't they?
yes,
I don't
which I
have that
have
one.
sitting over here.
Oh yeah, you're now you're
You've
making
got
me
you got a
jealous. I
lot of
don't have
Kolchak coming this way, so. He,
that.
he was my idol. I wanted a seersucker suit and a straw hat when I was a kid.
I just wanted to
But
say real quick, Chad, that we didn't intentionally schedule this to conflict with the Robert E. Howard Foundation's birthday bash for the great REH, which is coming up probably in 20 minutes or 25 minutes. So sorry, John, that wasn't intentional. But if people have to bail for that, we'll understand. We still got some time. Hopefully, you'll stick around, the few of you here, for a while. But
yeah,
let me make, sorry, I didn't mean to have me big. I need to make you big so you
okay.
can show those off here. Here we go.
So yeah, this was the Get a Belial, which I always think is because the deformed twin in Basket Case is also named
Yeah,
Belial. So
exactly.
I so there's that one, and then
And
we
that's some kind
had
of Satan worshiping story or demon story or something.
uh,
Have you
you
read through
know,
that one? Do you remember?
I have it is an interesting. It has to do with it does have to do with religion and religious extremism, but there's somebody that they have a child that I think is deformed, but can provide like miracle cures or something of that nature. There's
Okay.
something. I mean, it's an it.
Because
I
get
my,
means like the child or something, right?
right.
Usually. Yeah.
So there's a woman who can perform miracles, I think, and then the child is the monster of the week. So
I see.
if I'm remembering it, it's been a while since
Well, that sounds
I
fairly
read it.
original for
Yeah,
Kolchak. So,
and it
what
was
was the
supposed to
other
take
script?
place in a it was taking place in a mining town. So
Okay, well, that'll be, yeah. That's the thing that they needed to do more often because they have in The Vampire, which is one of the better episodes, where he goes to Los Angeles and he goes on the cruise, which is a cool idea, even if the werewolf is terribly, you know, executed in the werewolf
poor Eric
episode. But
Braden.
the problem is they made, yeah, poor Eric, we can just tell that guy has, he's fairly proud gentleman, and I'm sure he was rolling his eyes about that. In fact, he might have refused to even put on the makeup for all I know. But
You
um,
know, there's a chance it was probably Craig R. Baxley, the stuntman
yeah,
in the
that
outfit.
would make sense because I can't see Braden, putting up with that, especially for what he was probably being paid. Um,
Yeah,
but too much of this show was set um, in Chicago, right? Where
yeah,
now I don't have a problem believing that there's a monster every week in Chicago, but some people that's a a problem, and I
a
know that
bridge
was a
too far.
problem for McGavin, and
Yeah,
that whole thing about Primal Scream, that ad said in the caves beneath Chicago. Now, is Chicago famous for caves? I don't really think so. So if
you
they
know,
had had him a
and
little
like and
more,
are the and where in the century they had the big store underground storage facility. So do these caves run adjacent? And would
yeah,
there could be a crossover where those monkeys go, those primeval monkeys fight against the reptilian
yeah,
monster
there
from
you
the
go.
two? I mean, there you go.
Yeah,
So
so if we get into the series is a show that it has its problems. It's lacking budget to conceive of monsters or
yeah,
execute them properly, but some of them are fairly well done. I would say the Rakshasa is not bad. Sometimes they use clever filming techniques to hide the bad suits, like in The Sentry, which you mentioned, the final episode, which is really atmospheric, I think, where it starts with Kolchak driving that little cart through those long tunnels and, looking behind him and fearfully, and the rubber suited reptile monster in that, if you see it, get a clear look at it, is laughable. But they film a lot of it. They have it kind of knocking out light bulbs in the cave and in shadows, and it's a lot of it is clever editing.
As long as it's in shadow and like back in the background, it's really good. It's when it gets up close, you're like, oh yeah, that's like
yeah. And some of the other, obviously, but some of them are quite effective, I think, like the zombie. That's got one of the creepiest scenes in the whole show, where Kolchak's trying to sew its mouth shut, salt in it, in some kind of hearse in the back of a stack of cars in a junkyard, and then the zombie's eyes pop open and like, what memories the thing that I remember from watching, because I didn't see Kolchak when it originally aired, I don't think. What I saw it on was when they aired it on the CBS late night movie. Speaking of CBS, they did have the late night movie where they would repurpose things like the New Avengers and other shows, and they showed Kolchak. Somehow they got the rights to Kolchak to show it. I don't know, but
which is odd because they
that's usually, where I saw a lot of them, if I remember. So,
but this is interesting because 1975 was a pretty seminal year for me, and I don't know how my first introduction was, but my very first glimpse of Kolchak was the episode "The Trevi Collection." And
which is pretty creepy.
Yeah, I had snuck out of my my bedroom, and I crawled through the dining room, and I was peeking around the corner of the door watching the TV, and I saw this this scene where a guy walking through a room with these mannequins, and the mannequins were moving, and then they ganged up on him and threw him out of a window, and he landed on a car, and and then there was
that's a nice creepy scene. You gotta love scary mannequins.
Yeah. And that's when my dad discovered that I had gotten up, and he's like, "What? Go back to bed." Like,
right when the good stuff's happening.
I know.
Yeah, my parents were strict that way too about making me go to bed. And I remember, watching the Mega Man on TV, and I was right at the good part, and I was loving it, and had to go to bed with like 40 minutes left, and I was creeping out to use the bathroom to kind of catch some of the ending, But
thank you for being so slick, and
what's up, bichos?
And then we go forward a few weeks, and I do it again. I get up out of bed and I go creeping in, and I look, and this one had a guy going down a staircase, and these bird people attacking him. And it was funny because David Garage Geek actually showed
Legacy of Terror with the weird chicken thing.
Yeah. And how I remembered it, how my 7 or 8-year-old brain remembered it, was like the spear just jabbed into this guy's chest, and they turned it like this, and his heart was
that's what happened, as we're told, but they're carving out his heart, but they can't show that on 1975 television.
My child's brain filled that in, I always had a vivid imagination. So, and I got up through like seeing Eric Estrada and the second killing. So I got to see more of that episode, but then I got discovered and sent back to bed.
Well, let's just go real quick here. We got Rob talking about the zombie being terrifying, and Garage Geek showing up. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know your name, MC 1964 MC, but if I recall, you were related to the pulp writer Don Wilcox. I think that's you had commented about that when we were talking about Fantastic Adventures, Rob and I, in the last stream. So thank you for coming back. And he remembers Night Stalker when he was 8. We must have been about the same age. Not the Night Stalker movie. I did see that on some repeat. I remember that too, because it made a big impression on me. But I would have been about 8 when the Night Stalker TV series was airing in 74, 75. I was born in 67. So Chadwick, we must be pretty similar in age.
I was born in 67 as well. So we're about the same age.
David is quite close, maybe a tiny bit behind us. The Mega Man is such a great movie. I agree. That's my favorite of the I Am Legend Richard Matheson adaptations, even though it has some problems too. But I love it, love it, love it unconditionally. So, yeah. Well, my earliest memory that I can recall was Chopper. Now, thinking about it, when you watch it today, it's ridiculous. The way they realize the head. It's a great idea. The headless horseman on a motorbike. That's the Zemeckis and Gale Back to the
Yeah.
Future boys idea, and it's a great idea, and it's a funny episode. But the execution is abysmal. They make this huge, to put the shoulders above the rider's head, and it just looks.
Looking like a guy that's got like acromegalia or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Rondo Hatton without his head or something. But it's but I remember that scaring me as a kid. It's funny what scares you as a kid. And I remember him because I have, again, like you, kind of my imagination painting in that he was hacking, beheading people with the chain?
No, it was a samurai sword.
It was a
sword.
It was a samurai sword. That's right. Yeah, I haven't watched that episode in a while because it's not one of my favorites. But partly because I cringe whenever I see the racing scenes. It's marginally better than the Werewolf, where they freeze frame before any action happens there. But again, I like the Werewolf episode more as an episode. But
it's fun seeing Larry Linville being basically Major Frank Burns as a cop in Chicago.
Yeah,
in that episode. So
that's right.
He actually appeared as a coroner.
He appears he's a Dr. McGurky or
Meraki.
Yeah, he's in the opening of the coroner's report, right?
Yeah,
and the very memorable opening of the Night Stalker, where it's shooting down with the they're
looking and they're discovering there's no blood in the body.
Credits are rolling. Yeah, David says, I'm younger than you geezers. Not by much, David. Months.
I'll be quiet, kid. Go to bed.
Get off my lawn. The Screaming School movie terrified me. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Liminal. Yeah, a lot of people are with you, Chris, that they like the Vincent Price Last Man on Earth one. I Am Legend, the new one with Will Smith, started great. All of these kind of start great and kind of fall apart a little bit. My problem was the I Am Legend with Will Smith would have been fantastic if they had not done the CGI, the creatures as CGI. If they had done people in masks or traditional makeup, it might have been really something even more. It would have been special. But I like the opening of that one a lot. It's a hard story to get just right. No one's quite done the book justice. Speaking of Headless, Happy Days episode Haunted. Yeah, that's a good episode, actually. I used to, really hate Happy Days growing up, but I watched that. First season is not half bad. Eric Co's laughing at his joke there. I think he. Okay. And I was hoping you guys were older. Damn. Yes. Sorry, Mark. I think we're not too much behind you though. And let's see. If you watch alternate version of Will Smith version, it's way better. Okay, I haven't seen the alternate version. I need to check that out. So
I think the alternate version has the ending that's closer to the book. I'm not too sure.
The non-happy ending, kind of, right? The downbeat ending. Because being the 70s, where they love downbeat endings, we'll talk about those some more when we get to some other TV movies. But Mega Man nails that for sure. So that's a really memorable ending. And that's actually kind of almost a perfectly constructed movie, I think. I showed it to a lot of people who had never seen it before, and even they go, that's pretty cool. Because whenever there's a slow phase for plot building or character development, they add some jeopardy to kind of just goose it up again. It's the structure of it's pretty damn good. Not to mention the awesome music by Ron Grenier. Yeah, but that's not a TV terror, even though I saw it on TV first. Yeah. Anything else you want? Should we talk more about Kolchak? I'm sure we could talk about it forever.
We can always come back, but I want to finish the series run. I did get to see the last 2 episodes front to end. My dad let me stay up, and I got to see the Youth Killer in the Century on The youth killer had Kathy Lee
Kathy Lee
Crosby as Palliative
Cosby.
Troll,
Yeah.
draining the life out of people, which was for
That's
me a very boring monster. I mean, it was a fun episode, but
it's a fun episode to watch now, and of course, see her in. That's one of the few times where the villain. There are a couple, but where the kind of killer monster. She's not really a monster, I suppose, but mythical figure of the week and
yeah,
Kolchak and banter a little bit against each other. There's a few of those.
there's a few.
But it's interesting. It's kind of sad that it got canceled for a lot of reasons. But some of those later episodes kind of get poo-pooed by Dwidziak in his book and stuff. But some of them are getting a little more original.
Yeah.
And this one has real fun at the expense of the fitness craze of the 70s and the youth
Yeah.
culture kind of going on.
No, and astrology and everything. Yeah, I'm on the cusp of Capricorn or whatever,
As usual, one thing you can always rely on the show is some really funny banter and dialogue. And Darren McGavin is just so great in this show. I mean, he's just even when the script is a little subpar, and it does happen occasionally, but he is always elevating everything. And they got great guest casts in every episode, pretty much. The Century has his wife, Kathy Brown, a formidable TV actress in her own right, very attractive lady, playing the police captain or police lieutenant of the week who always bags on Kolchak. Kolchak's always despised by the police. Oh, spoilers! We were spoiling a little bit of. Well, I don't think we spoiled much there about the Kathy Lee Crosby episode there. And the Sentry has the monster, the reptile monster.
That
so
for
you
many
saw
years
those live
was my
when they went
favorite
out.
all-time
Nice.
episode.
Sorry?
That was for many years my favorite all-time episode because that was when I saw it. It had a real monster in it. I've always leaned towards like non-human monsters. So I like, the giant dinosaur.
What would you
monster.
rank among your favorites today as an adult out of the 20? What are your top 5?
Top 5 are, well, number 1 is Pam Afe from the Spanish Moss Murders.
Bad Medicine.
No, that's Pam. That's Diabolero.
Oh, sorry. That's the
Is
Diabolero.
the swamp creature.
What is that called? Dang it! Can't believe I'm forgetting the title of that episode.
Spanish Moss Murders.
Spanish Moss Murders with Richard Keel. Yeah, playing the Moss. That has the great scene in the sewers where Kolchak walks a nice line. He reminds me of Mulder this way, where they're both kind of fearless in a weird way because they want to get the answers. I mean, remember the host episode of the X-Files, to digress slightly, with the living leech guy, and some guy falls in the sewers, and Boulder just dives right in to rescue him with that creature down there. And I remember a friend of mine watching it with me going, man, that guy's got balls of steel to do that. Most people wouldn't do that. Kolchak isn't brave exactly, but to go in and do what he has to do, he's always pretty much taking the monster on alone at the end by himself.
Yep, because nobody believes it.
Yeah, nobody else. And it's quite often he's targeted, so he's got to take care of it himself. Sorry, so you said the Spanish Moss Murders is your number 1. Okay.
Number 1. Number 2 would be Rakshasha from
Horror of the Heights by the Jimmy Sangster script, right?
I will say that number 3 would be the Energy Eater, Macha Menedo.
That's a really funny episode. Yeah.
Will Smith, who has a great
no relation to William Smith, let's say. No relation to Will Smith from I Am Legend.
Yeah, William Smith, who's like the
big tough guy. William Smith from is it Every Which Way But Loose or Any Which Way You Can?
I think it was Any Which Way You Can.
Or he plays the principled opponent in that one. Yeah, he's a very cool, tough guy actor.
I love when he starts to do like his shaman dance, and Kolchak takes up his camera and he stops and looks at him. He says, "You take a picture of me, you're going to get a close up of my foot."
They have a really funny relationship. That's a really fun episode. You have the invisible monster, which it's kind of
invisible monster, except that it pops up. You never see it, but it attacks an area, and it turns out that X-rays have caught its
Yeah, it's just like kind
thing,
of
and
a
they put it
big
together
eye.
like a big puzzle, and they step
It's
back,
supposed
and
to
it's
be,
just this giant eye, you know.
but it's supposed to be from what I when I my rewatch, it's supposed to be a like a bear god, an Indian bear god or something, right?
Yeah,
I
something.
first I have to talk about this real quick. Sorry, Chad. Chris has never seen Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Oh, you're
Chris,
missing
really?
out. You're
Come on.
missing
I know
out.
you're a little younger than me and Chad here, but you it's you have to watch it with you're gonna watch it if you check it out now, Chris, and kind of laugh at some of the special effects. But this is a very seminal 70s horror
Yeah,
show, a cult detective show. I highly recommend it, and especially the first two TV movies, The Night Stalker and The Night Strangler. Do yourself
those
a
are
favor,
legit
and
classics.
those are legitimately good.
Yeah.
But thanks for enjoying it anyway, Chris. Wow. Okay, now here, Erico, we have What Really Horrified Me as a Child was made for TV movie Killdozer. Yes, we'll be coming to Killdozer soon,
We're
which was
getting
based
there.
on
And
Theodore
yes, I thought it
Sturgeon's.
was based off of a Sturgeon story, the Doom
Yes.
Rollers or something.
Yes. And let's see. They made a Killdozer movie. That's awesome. Yeah, Chris, they made a movie with Clint Walker and Neville Brand and a few other people. We'll talk about that soon. Hang in there. And yeah, Kino has, yeah, I have the Killdozer Blu-ray right here. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Firefall, yes, Firefall is a very good episode. That's
yes,
right, Mark.
with
I
the
agree.
doppelganger.
Yeah, that's a creepy one where he's kind of and spontaneous combustion. He wants to believe. Who is it? Chris? He wants to believe. Okay. Yeah. You should check it out, Chris. I think you could find it. David, you want to tell Chris? I think you were watching it on. It wasn't HBO Max. What streaming service were you watching that on, David? Oh, Mulder, right? Yeah. Were you watching Kolchak, David? What streaming service was that on? I'm sure it's because you've been watching it on streaming. But yeah, sorry. So you had 3 of your episodes.
Panama Faye, Rakshasha, Machaminato. Then it's probably the Century, and after that I might kind of fog. I probably have to go with the Zombie. You know.
The Zombie has its silly moments, but it's got that fantastic ending. Yeah, the zombie riding a bus. That's a pretty clever. Before he goes and kills some mafia guys.
I'm like, is it
exact change, please?
What does it smell like? Do you mean?
Yeah, pretty bad, pretty ripe, I'm guessing. Well, let's see. My favorite probably because I kind of like the series when it goes similar to in quality to the TV movies, but I'm kind of torn because then there's the ones that are more original. So Horror in the Heights is probably one of my favorites and easily one of the best episodes. The vampire with what is her name? Cassandra. Is it Cassandra Harris, the dancer? Anyway, playing the vampire lady they don't explicitly say, they kind of miss a trick to mention Skorzeny again. But
that's always
obviously one of his victims.
Yeah.
Coming alive, which has that great ending where Kolchak lights the cross on fire as he pounds the stake into her.
Try getting away with that now.
And the Ripper is really good, although again you could say it's kind of a direct formula of the copy of the first 2 TV movies, but it's really well done. The scene where the tea kettle is going off and Kolchak's hiding in the Ripper's closet, it's kind of harkening back to the Night Stalker movie, of course. But Primal Scream is really good, and Mr. Ring is also quite good. There's so many good ones, but I like Demon and Lace, the succubus one, quite a lot. And probably the Demon and Lace maybe, and Horror in the Heights, the Rakshasa one, the zombie, the vampire, and Firefall maybe are my favorites. But my favorites could probably change week to week. So
I'm like,
we should move on, I guess, from that. Let's see. We're going to bore everyone with talking.
We should go back to 1972 where we digressed because we went to Night Stalker and just said and cannonballed into the deep end.
Okay, well
Yes.
let me real quick go through it, catch up with the chat. So yeah, Peacock streamer has Kolchak or Paramount Plus. Okay, I guess David's not 100% sure. Yeah, David likes Vincenzo, played by Simon Oakland, and he is amazing. His chemistry with
Oh
um,
yeah.
Darren McGavin, and he's retained from the TV movies. So Simon
Mhm.
Oakland, a very great actor, playing heavies a lot in films and television, but he is great as the apoplectic boss that's always sputtering away at Kolchak's, disobeying him every
Kolchak, come
time.
back here.
All right, Chris, thanks for stopping in. Okay. Enjoy the video. I'm going to be over there later, I'm sure. Okay. Thank you. How about Dark Shadows? Yes. It was on the afternoon after school. Barnabas was great. I know David is a big fan of Dark Shadows. I never saw it live. I have a kind of kind of a highlight DVD but I never got into it myself. Chadwick, you probably have some Dark Shadows, I would guess.
Um, this is one where I'm embarrassed to admit I've never really seen the original series, nor the two movies that Dan Curtis made. The
Yeah,
only
the
one I
movies
saw
sound
was
pretty
the Burton
hardcore.
one, but I did pick
Yeah.
up one of the books, and I'm intending to finally watch Dark Shadows because I want to like fill that gap in
I know the
my
DVD set was in a coffin and it had like 120 some discs or
yeah,
something like
something
that. I
like
mean,
that.
it's a thousand plus 1,200 hours or something.
That's a
Uh,
lot of
I,
hours.
and the early part, but it's an interesting, 'cause it's a soap opera, and I've had a long time aversion to soap operas, but it is very influential and it sounds pretty interesting. So one of these
Yeah.
days, I have, and it has a great, like a lot of the 70s shows, great opening theme tune, etc. Yeah, I
Yeah, I've
figured
got the soundtrack back there.
Kolchak blows Dark Shadows blows Kolchak away. Sorry, I don't think so. What is it? All 85,000 shows? Are you exaggerating? I don't think it's quite that many, but it's a lot.
There's a lot of
It's a
episodes,
lot.
but
It's a lot. Okay, well, let's return to let's see. 1972 also had, besides the Night Stalker, it had another ABC movie of the week, Moon of the Wolf, starring David Jansen. Another werewolf one. You want to
and
talk about this one? Do you have any memory of this one, Chad?
yeah, this is not one I saw on when it aired because I had been five or so.
I
But
think it has gotten a
this was
DVD release.
yeah, but the I did see it on the 3:30 movie, and I recognized Bradford Dillman, who is a staple of 70s television and film, and Jeffrey Lewis. He's the guy in the jail cell when
And Barbara
that
Rush.
yes,
Now,
and
I don't know why
yeah,
John Bernardino gets a credit, but I don't think he's particularly famous. But
maybe
maybe,
maybe
maybe he was. I like
maybe
these
maybe he
TV
had an
actors.
in at the marketing department, But I do remember it, and the one thing I do, the one moment I remember, there's a scene where some characters go to visit some um, bayou swamp woman, and she's got like a a werewolf detection or a repelling kit on her porch, and one of the characters walks by it and just goes, and I'm like, that's the werewolf.
That's the
So
werewolf. It's got to be the werewolf. Yeah, David brings up a good point, and we neglected to say this: is that Dan Curtis, the producer of the Kolchak, not the TV series, but of the two TV
yeah,
movies, was also had been the producer on Dark Shadows. So that's
yeah,
good to mention that.
he was
And
the man in the
he was the
70s.
man. He also did the Norliss Tapes, which we'll talk about later. I love the Norliss Tapes. Very Kolchak-y feeling in a lot of ways. Although a
Yeah,
very different lead actor in Roy Thinnis, very dour and serious for anyone who remembers the Invaders TV series. He's a terrific actor, but I don't think I've ever seen him crack a smile in anything he's ever
no.
done. Let's see. Prime has all of Dark Shadows. Barnabas comes in around episode 250. The earlier episodes are called Dark Shadows, the beginning. Dan Curtis was the producer, right? Yeah, and I know there's also it was gothic from the get go, and they were adding some witchcraft and other elements, but it wasn't really. I don't think it took off in real peak popularity, or at least as popular as it was cult popularity until Barnabas kind of became a
Yeah.
vampire, right? That's my kind of
Yeah.
memory
I
of it.
think Barnabas was what really kicked it into high gear. And then after that, they just went crazy. It was werewolves and zombies and just
Well, and
like
of course, the witch Angelique, who turns him into a werewolf, played by Laura Parker, who's in
the
the
Trevi
Kolchak
collection.
episode, the Trevi Collection, which has the mannequins and the really nasty, even though you don't see anything, the death by scalding in the shower.
Oh,
Yeesh, that's
yes.
not nice. Yeah,
Not
crazy.
nice at all.
No. So the idea behind a lot of the deaths in Kolchak, quite nasty, quite hideous. Some of them. Norliss Tapes. Yeah, Norliss Tapes has a great jump scare moment. One of the best on TV movies, I think. Yeah, crazy Angelique.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. And she did the crazy eyes in the Trevi collection. Well, I've never seen The Moon of the Wolf. I think I have a downloaded file of it. It's not one that I was aware of. I was aware of The Scream of the Wolf, the one with Peter Graves and Clint Walker, which comes up in the uh, in
74.
1974. Yeah,
Yeah.
but before we get there, um, gotta love David Jansen. He just one last mention for Moon of the Wolf. David Jansen, of course, Richard Kimball and The Fugitive, Harry
Hmm.
O'Hara, U.S. Treasury, one of his lesser known ones. But he was also, like Darren McGavin, the king of the 70s TV movies. He's in a lot
He
of
was
really
in
good
everything.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a terrific actor and apparently a really nice guy. Sadly died young
Too
from a heart
young.
attack. Happens too often. 1973. What I have
Oh
the
wait, there's two
Devil's.
of let's
Oh,
go.
is there
There's
two that I
two.
missed? Sorry, please go ahead, Chad.
Well, yeah, there's two that were there was one that starred I think it was I think it was Lloyd Bridges, but it's called Haunts of the Very Rich with Ed
Okay.
Asner and Robert Reed about
Is that a
a
horror one? That because it doesn't sound like it, does it? But
yeah,
you
it's
did include it.
basically a group of people on a plane land at a resort in a on a tropic isle that they can't leave, and they begin to suspect whether or not are they actually dead, are they in purgatory,
Uh, Talk about
and
a weird
every
night of television. Look at this.
yeah
The Paul
yeah
Lynde Show, Haunts of the Very Rich, and then this Julie Andrews Hour. Okay, that's a bit all over the place.
yeah
Have you
right
seen this one, Chad?
yeah I saw one again on the 330 movie, and it's got it really builds again to an effective end, but it's one of those stealth horror ones where it's like it's more like a long Twilight Zone episode with that amps the creep factor up and up as it becomes clear that like the what was that movie, The Petite Charm of the Bourgeois, where they're in a
Bourgeois, yeah.
location they can't
Bourgeoisie.
get out of, and yet there's also no staff, so things start to decay and rot, and they're like,
I, th-
and it's
I think it's
really
going to be a little less nasty than that movie, though. But
yeah,
yeah, but that sounds
and
interesting. I've not seen that one. Lloyd Bridges
and
also in many
yeah.
many TV movies at the time.
And then there was one, I remember the trailer for this at one point, but it was a film. It starred Cornell Wilde and
Gargoyles.
Gargoyles, and with Bernie Casey, yeah,
Yeah,
and the
Gargoyles
young
is
Scott
is
Glenn,
a
and
cool
oh
movie.
yeah, it was
That
that
one's been was released on DVD.
yeah that
I wonder if
movie.
I can find it real quick here.
I was just
Oh,
terrified
that would have been
of that.
terrifying as a little kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to find the TV ad if I can get one here. Because they have that weird sound effect when they, uh, when they get when they're moving around and they're kind of moving in slow, weird, jerky motion or
yeah,
whatever.
they move in slow motion, and it's early work by Stan Winston, so they're really creepy gargoyle looking things, and it's also really kind of nasty too. I mean, that's got a pretty high body count for you don't
Yeah,
usually you don't.
the shopkeeper guy, and I like when it's attacking their Jeep at night because they're Cornell Wilde and his daughter, who's I forgot her name. She's rocking a pretty nice halter top, if I recall.
I think her name was
And
like Alexandra Salt or something like that.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and she's in some other TV episodes, but that I remember seeing her in. She's pretty sexy in this, in a kind of teeny bopper cute daughter way. I think I have something here. And Bernie Casey is under makeup as the chief gargoyle.
Yes.
Now, this was not ABC, was it? It was something other
I
channel,
don't.
maybe.
Oh wait, it's a CBS movie.
CBS actually did it. Wow.
Oh wow! So there we go.
This is not an ad, but this is like some kind of an advertisement or still from a magazine. And there's Bernie Casey in his gargoyles makeup and
Oh,
Cornell
this looks like
Wilde.
it's from Monster Times.
Oh, look at you! You identified that well. Wow.
Well, I
Yeah,
read the little
Gargoyles was
subcaption.
one of the few that of these kind of TV movies that was released on DVD, I think.
Yeah.
Here, let's catch up with some real quick here. Yeah, we're coming to Cold Night's Death. I didn't see this till just a few years ago, Eriko, and it is a creep-tastic movie. Boy, is it good. Yeah, that deserves a Kino Blu-ray release. It's got Eli Wallach and Robert Culp. It's a two-hander all the way, and it is really atmospheric
Really good.
and scary. Yeah, very good movie. And David says Haunts of the Very Rich. Is that it? Haunts of the Very Rich.
Haunts
Sounds
of the
awesome.
Very Rich. Yeah.
And Gargoyles. Yeah, so David remembers Gargoyles or has seen Gargoyles, and so does Rob. Yeah, Gargoyles. Yeah, Gargoyles is creepy. Yeah, so okay, so that's good that you pointed those out. I had thought of Gargoyles before we started this, but I had forgotten to get any images for it. So anything else from 72?
No, I got my little 73 list up here.
Okay, The Devil's Daughter. Did you send me anything for The Devil's Daughter? I can't remember if.
No, I got.
And then we have A Cold Night's Death, which we just talked about, and where there's some kind of, is it a research station, a primate research
Arctic
station up in the Arctic?
Yeah, it's an Arctic research station with
no one is responding to the call, so they send to scientists, I guess. They're scientists, right? To come up and see what happens. They find one of them people frozen to death in the radio room, and a bunch of apes shrieking in their cages. And what's going on? It is something else. This one. This is very effective.
And again, it just has one of those iconic closing images that you'll remember.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
I couldn't find a TV ad, but I found the book. I think it's a TV tie-in. I don't know if it.
Yeah, it's a tie-in.
And there's Eli Wallach and Robert Culp, and there's the guy that they find frozen in a very creepy image in the radio room, and they get the power going again. Eli Wallach starts doing some continuing the experiments, because I think they're trying to test how human astronauts will survive isolation in space or something like that. Am I remembering that correctly?
Something like that, yeah.
And what happened, the where it goes is really interesting for sure. Yeah.
No spoilers. You need to watch it.
We need to listen to the description after. Yeah, I will do that for sure. I'll try to. Then we have Satan's School for Girls. This one is very famous. I have not seen it. Have you seen this one?
The one that you mentioned the Norliss Tapes, but Roy Thinnis was also in this. I think he played the headmaster of the school, who was, of course, Old Scratch himself. But there's a shot. Well, it's
that's
Satan's
okay.
School for it's Satan.
Yeah, of course. Satan's going to be there. Again, another weird night of television. ABC just couldn't figure out what the hell they were doing.
Right. There was this. I just remember a shot of like Roy Thinnis standing in the bushes watching people, and then the camera pans down, and where he's standing, the ground has been burned, and that's all I remember of it.
So he was being Uncle Pervy looking through the windows at the sorority girls, huh?
I guess.
This one is notorious for a lot of people. I know them. I'm trying to remember her name. She was running a podcast about these TV movies, and I think she wrote a book about it, or co-wrote a book. Does she even have? She might even have a commentary on this one of the Kolchak episodes, but I can't think of her name right now, unfortunately.
Stacy Ponder? No.
She this was a really formative one for her, this Satan School of Girls, I think. So which I think especially female viewers might have gotten really struck by that. So understandably. What can you remind me, Chad? Do you know when the Norliss tapes came out? I think they must have been in the
The Norliss tapes. I
75 or
got
something.
the Norliss tapes aired on February 21st, 1973, according to the IMDb.
73. Okay, so
Yeah,
we're in the right year for it. So let
yeah.
me pull. I think I have something for Norliss now. This was also released on DVD. It hasn't been released on Blu-ray, I don't think, but um, this one is from Dan Curtis again, and
Mm-hmm.
it's got a great cast: Angie Dickinson, Claude Akins. I'm trying to think of. It's got a couple of other. It's got Michelle Carey from El Dorado, beautiful husky voiced actress, and it's got a black actress from, I think, what's the vampire movie from the early 70s, Chad, that had it's
Blackula?
not Blackula. No, there's another one, a more artsy fartsy one.
Oh, Ganja and Hess.
Ganja and Hess, yeah, and I think it's the actress from that, but I
Okay.
might be remembering that wrong. But um, let me find Norliss tapes and put it up there. But he's basically an investigative journalist, I guess, who's been basically his publisher shows up. Don Porter, Gidget's dad from the TV series, great actor, I like him a lot. Um, Norliss is missing. Roy Thinnis plays Norris. He goes and shows up at Norliss's apartment, finds a bunch of tapes, and the first one is what he puts in the deck, and he's doing a article. Apparently, he's been researching a cult phenomenon or whatever, and he's gone missing and presumed something's happened to him, perhaps. And he relates his first case, which is of this Angie Dickinson, her sculptor husband or whatever, is seemingly back from the dead. So there's some weird stuff going on there related to devil worship, etc. So they were fond of satanic cult stuff in the 70s. I guess it was the satanic panic time. So
Yeah.
that makes
The
sense.
Exorcist, the Omen. Yeah, it's like you could.
Right.
There was like
It was in the
satanic
ether.
cults all over the place. You couldn't go anywhere. They were just everywhere.
You're
So
just,
it's just you throw a rock and you'd hit a satanic cult.
you'd hit a Satan worshiper if you threw a rock. We also have back to ABC, Scream, Pretty Peggy. Have you any memories of that one?
No. Do you know if the Horror at 37,000 feet was an ABC one, or?
I didn't see it on the list, but it could have been. Let me see if I can find the. I do remember that one very vividly. That's with William Shatner, right?
Yes.
And several others. A kind of
the
demon possession
in
on the
it.
plane. It's Chuck Connors, Buddy Ebsen. Is it Tammy Grimes in that one too?
Tammy Grimes, yeah.
It's
Russell Johnson, the professor.
Paul Winchell. I'm trying to think. CBS. That was CBS. So we can't discount them out. I guess they decided to jump on the bandwagon at this stage.
Yeah.
Because they probably saw some pretty monster ratings for things like Kolchak, etc. So
yeah.
There's that one. There's also The Cat Creature. Do you recall The Cat Creature?
No, not off the top of my head.
It's about a bunch of people. There's some kind of Egyptian curse, and some sort of servant of Bast is murdering people, maybe, or something. I don't know.
It's one of those I might have seen like something, but the name didn't stick. So, but
is nice and cozy at the same time, scary. I don't remember being cozy, but you're probably right. A lot of these are kind of cozy, I guess, because they were made for TV. But I remember that one creeping me out. I did see that one as a kid, at least partially, and I remember something burning on the plane, on the hole in the plane, or something weird happening. But very vague memories. I haven't seen it since.
Also, now that I think about it, you could probably watch The Horror at 37,000 feet and then read Stephen King's The Mist and see some parallels in how the group dynamics were from the passengers on the plane and what happens in the supermarket. I was just like, yeah, he was watching that.
Yeah, I think whatever he might say about TV terrors himself, King was influenced, whether he wanted to admit it or not.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any more for 73 unless you do. So to move
I
into
have one
70.
more.
Okay, please.
You mentioned it before we started. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Oh, geez, how can I have missed that one?
Yeah.
That one's
Aired
massive,
on
but that must not be an
October.
ABC one. What was that one from?
Might have been NBC.
Yeah, NBC was in the game a lot too.
Yeah,
So
but this one aired on October 10th, 1973. And that was one of the ones that I heard about. Everybody was talking about this horrifying thing with these little people that came out of a fireplace and tormented this woman in a house. And it was just like, no, it was ABC. Huh. Wednesday, movie of the week.
I missed that one somehow. Okay, when I was looking through the
But
list today, Doc
yeah,
Elliott and Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice. They just did not know how to they knew how to market them, but they didn't know how to make a lineup, did they?
no.
Well, this is one you're going to laugh probably at me or look askance at me, but I have not seen this one. I have kind of aversion to Kim Darby. I don't
Okay.
really like her, even though I like the movie True Grit. No offense to Kim Darby, she's seems like a nice lady, but she's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I've heard this one is creepy as hell, and I
It
do
is.
know that they remade it. Del Toro did
Produced a remake, yeah.
yeah, not Benicio, of course, but Guillermo produced it. He didn't direct it. That's right. But I need this. This has been, I think, Warner Archives put this out. Did they put this out on Blu-ray? I know they put this out on DVD. But I need to see this. Do you have memories of watching this live?
No, this
No.
but I did see a
It's very
repeat of
famous
it.
for the TV movies of the week, though.
Yeah. And it was directed by John Newland, who did One Step Beyond and did that
Yeah.
in the 50s. So,
Newland's quite a
but
good director. Yeah.
yeah,
He directed quite a few.
I'm next time
Yeah, Kim
I'm
Darby.
probably gonna watch. I like to visit locations where films were shot, and I think you can visit the house that they shot the movie at. It's a mansion in some location, probably down in the sprawl of Los Angeles. But I keep telling myself I might extend the day when I'm at a Monster Palooza, so when I drive back on a Monday, I can go to a presidential library or someplace where a movie was shot. But I haven't done that yet. It's on my bucket list. So.
Well, this is another one that I haven't seen yet. I really want to see, and that is, did you get one? I think you sent me something for this. Yeah, here it is. Where have all the people gone? Now we're into 1974.
1974, yes.
And this one I
This
think
was,
you can find on YouTube.
yeah,
This is more science fictional, I guess, maybe,
it is, yeah.
but it's creepy.
It's creepy. I will say it. There's a reason why it's not particularly fondly remembered.
Is that the ending?
Yeah, it just doesn't go anywhere. No, I'm not
It
going to
has such a
spoil
great
it.
setup, though.
It's got a great setup, but it
I think
doesn't
they're
have
camping.
any.
Is that right? Peter Graves is
Yeah,
a father camping with his teenage son and daughter, and they
yeah,
are in a
they're
cave or
camping and
something, and they come out. Something
it's kind of
happened.
like it's kind of like Night of the Comet. They're down in a
Yeah.
cave and there's a solar flare, but they're protected because they're down in the cave and they come out and they come
Everyone's
to
little
this
pile of ash or dust
yeah,
or something, and presumably the mom is
right.
toasted. And then I guess people are acting like they would act, and kind of doing nasty stuff, like Panic in the Year Zero or whatever.
Yeah.
So
The one thing that's interesting about it was that it was directed by John Llewellyn Moxey, who directed the Night Stalker, the
yeah,
original Night
Moxie
Stalker movie.
did a lot of good TV movies
Yeah.
back in the day.
So
David saying happy to visit locations of the Romero films, the zombie films. Such fun. I've never done much in the way of locations for films, but that sounds fun. I know a lot of people do. They revisit Doctor Who, original Doctor Who series locations or other movie locations. Great
Tanya
movie,
was all,
Peter Graves. Yeah.
Tanya knows when I get excited at a location, she just looks at me. She goes, "Okay, what was filmed here?"
You gotta love our long-suffering wives. My wife
Yeah.
is puts up with my weirdnesses. We mentioned Killdozer, of course, and
Yeah, there was
that is a very fun movie. It's a ridiculous idea, but when you hear somehow it legitimizes it a little bit when you hear, oh, Theodore Sturgeon wrote a story about it called the same thing, Killdozer, you know. So
Yeah, I mean, and also there's people who like they'll hear the concept and they'll be like, well, that sounds silly, but it's all in the execution, and if you do it
yeah,
right, you can
the
make it
concept
pretty.
is silly, but the
Yeah.
it's treated very seriously. Blocked. What does that mean? Blocked. Okay. That's an
Oh,
interesting way to do it. But yeah, Killdozer, basically what it is an alien intelligence somehow. It ends up in, I guess it takes over metal or whatever, and it infests or possesses a bulldozer and starts killing this kind of construction crew of hard cases out working on some remote African. Is it an island? I believe it's an
I think
island,
it's an
isn't it?
island. I think it's an island in the Pacific or whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna have to call it again. You know, Stephen King totally ripped this off for Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, totally.
What
Yeah.
a hack.
Or you'd say he ripped off the story, I guess, right? But good old Clint Walker, Man Mountain Clint Walker, Cheyenne himself, playing the hard ass kind of foreman. And we got Neville Brand and
Yep,
Robert
always
Urich, one
good.
of the first victims, pre-Vegas, pre-rookie, or maybe around the time you got into SWAT, I should say, not the rookies. Who else is in Killdozer? There's quite a cast in there.
Yeah.
Carl Betts, Donna Reed's husband in the Donna Reed show, and there's some other people who I can't recall right now that would be familiar faces. But that's a pretty good movie. It's pretty intense. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it
Yeah,
works. It works
but it
actually.
works. It's like Duel, but
Nothing
it's
can
like,
stop the spooky Killdozer. Neville Brand was also in all the people. Where have all the people gone? Yeah, probably playing a bad guy. I'm guessing he usually played bad guys. He's not a
yeah.
bad guy in this one so much, but fine actor. I like him a lot. We also got Killer Bees, which I believe Kino put out, right?
Yeah, maybe that's the one with Gloria Swanson and Kate Jackson, right? That's
That sounds
um
right. What
yeah,
about what's
there was a
the one that's
whole
called Ants that happened at Lakewood Manor? Did we pass the
yes.
time for that one? Or are we okay
That's
on
no, that's
timeline?
77.
Okay, good. So we're not there yet. Okay.
Yeah.
All
No,
right, Killer Bees.
I've got
So
Scream
there's
of the Wolf for 74, Killer Bees, Dan
the
Curtis's
Savage Bees.
oh, the Savage. That one comes out a little bit later. Yeah,
A little bit
Killer Bees
later.
were all
Okay.
the rage. Bigfoot,
Because
Killer
they were
Bees, and
talking
Quicksand. That's what would kill you in the 70s.
Gloria Swanson, Eddie Albert, Craig Stevens, Peter Gunn, and Kate Jackson. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Now, I've not seen either this one or Savage Bees. So do you have any memory of this?
No, but I do have the soundtrack for it. David Schreiber did the music, so
Now,
that's what I do.
one that is very, very famous and probably doesn't live up to the book that's since been republished by Fathom Press is Bad Ronald. People
Oh
still
yeah,
remember Bad Ronald.
I remember
Uh,
being scared to death of its promos and being just I couldn't. I was like, oh, that looks terrifying. But yeah,
and for those who don't know, Bad Ronald is, I guess he's a mama's boy that kills someone. She hides him up, walls him in the house. Then she dies of a heart attack or something. And a family with young girls moves into the house, and he's peering at them. Now it got this, I guess, this Scott Jacoby kid who's not particularly creepy or scary. Where in the book he's like a older, middle-aged guy, and he sounds much nastier. But
yeah,
this movie scarred a generation, I think. So
yeah,
the idea was good enough, anyway. To have you seen this
yeah.
one since? I've not watched this one.
I have not. I've seen like bits and pieces of it, of like him of Ronald hiding around the house and kind of like sneaking and think in his lair, but I haven't. I want to read the book, the Jack Vance novel.
Satanic cults,
Yeah,
quicksand, and killer bees. Kids don't know how tough it was to survive in the 70s.
I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
that's right.
man, it was a war zone out there. You
Good for
know,
what they could do on TV.
there was a reason why your mom told you to come home when the street lights came on.
And killer animals, not just killer bees. We have killer
We're getting there
dogs. We have
too.
killer.
Jaws is coming out in
We had
75.
we had
So in the next
grizzly and
few
Day
killer
of the
bees and
Animals.
yeah. There's one other one from that I have listed from 1974,
Okay.
and that was something called The Stranger Within, which
Oh
starred
yeah,
Barbara Eden, Nehemiah Perzoff.
that's where her baby is trying to
Yeah,
take
it's kind
over
of
her
like
life or something. Yeah, don't
yeah,
forget
something
biker
like that. I
games.
remember Nehemiah. The pitney has two hearts, you know. So and it's kind of just like I don't remember what it built to, but I just remember it was one of those like writing the
I
like
came across that in
Rosemary's
my
Baby,
search
It's Alive
over the last
thing.
couple of days, but I've never seen it, and I hadn't heard much about that one.
And did we
There's some
mention?
that I know I'm going to be forgetting that I'm going to kick myself later. But
Yeah. Did
well, so
you?
anything else for 74 you can think of?
There was a Scream of the Wolf. Did we mention
Oh,
that?
right, Scream of the Wolf, which I have seen on YouTube, and it's really fun. It's a little bit of a letdown, of course, with the the revelation at the end, but it's very cool. I like Scream of the Wolf a lot. I had that up there with the Night Stalker before, but see if I can put it back up. That had
Yeah,
Peter
that
Graves as two big game hunters, Peter Graves and Clint Walker playing a bad guy for a change, which is
cast
cool.
against type. Cool.
And Joanne Flug again, the lovely Joanne Flug, uh, later to be seen as in the first season of The Fall Guy, but uh,
Yeah.
she and I think there was some other good cast. Simon, no, that was Night Stalker. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Who else was in Scream of the Wolf? Anyway, this is set in a small town, America. Probably again, as usual, they're usually California small towns, whether they're called being in California or not.
Yeah.
Another one that I might have passed. I remember it well, but I'm not well, but I remember it vividly. Parts of it is the one with James Brolin trapped in the department store with three Doberman pitchers trying to kill
Oh
him,
yeah,
called
Trap.
Trapped.
That was early
But what
70s as
year
well.
was
That
that? Do
was
you recall?
I don't, but I think it was 74 or
Yeah, so
73.
okay, we're not too far ahead of that then.
No.
There may be good timing for that. Um, that one it's not a horror movie per se, although it'd be plenty horrific, I guess. But that one's quite suspenseful. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if my image comes out for that one. Let me see. I have an image of that somewhere here, but I don't know if it was
Yeah.
going to work or not. Let's see.
The
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood movie Thunderbolt and Lightfoot actually played off having Dobermans in a guarding like supermarkets or department stores.
Yeah, well, that was also, remember they made the movie The Doberman Pinscher Gang, and
The Doberman Gang.
again,
Yeah.
the Doberman Gang. We're gonna have to add Dobermans to the to the killer animals that populated the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move into 75 then, and I have the very famous Trilogy of Terror with the
Okay.
Zuni fetish doll. Whoa, what did I do? I
Yes.
did something weird. Sorry, hold
That
on. What
one
happened?
was, yeah, that another joint between Matheson and Dan Curtis. And it aired on March 4th, 1975. Karen Black played in all three episodes, which was like the selling
Yeah,
point.
but the only one that people remember is the final one
Is the last one, the Zuni
with the
fetish doll,
Zuni fetish doll. And
which is
my
just
mom, who had an aversion to, she had nightmares when she was a kid of a murderous little small human. She hated anything to do with little tiny things. Oh, vampire. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong one. Sorry. Um, I thought I was getting Trilogy of Terror on there. Was it on there? Did I get the right one? But yeah, that's the one that stands out. Did you see that one when it came out?
not when it came out. I think there were some that my parents just strictly forbade me to see, and I think that was one of them. But I do remember seeing it um, on a rerun at some point, and the first two stories were like, well, that's all right, and then this one came
This
on,
is the
and
one that
that one
cements this
just
one's
like
reputation.
it just like it's a banger, and
It's a banger
yeah,
for sure.
and again, it's got the curtain call image in the it's seared into I think a lot of nightmares. So you're just not
Oh
gonna
yeah,
you're not gonna forget that anytime soon.
and watch today, you might laugh a little bit about the way they captured the Zuni fetish doll, but I think it's still creepy as hell.
It is. And
The way they capture its kind of jerky movement and running around going and stabbing at her feet and stuff.
I know. It's just like it falls
Doesn't she?
within that like uncanny valley where it's like it's real enough but not, and so it's really it can be really unnerving if it's just like you're like ah.
Well, I think again, to go kind of the opposite way, I think this one might have, because this was another Matheson script, right?
Yes. In
Yeah,
fact,
I think he's
were
kind of ripping off
adaptations
the Invaders in a way. Remember his Twilight Zone episode, The Invaders, where Agnes Moorehead is being attacked by two little spacemen who turn out to be U.S. astronauts, and she's a alien giant or something. But
yes,
yeah, it was awesome.
I
It's
will
terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that the
Oh, you're lucky, Rob. Mine sure did. Not
they were
restrict, but bedtime.
Trilogy of Terror, like Dead of Night, which followed a year or two after it.
Yeah, they did a TV remake of the original British film Dead of Night.
No,
right?
it was they just reused the title.
Oh, they just used the title. It wasn't anything to do with that.
Because they're all based off of Matheson's short stories. So,
Which
and I had read
the original
here
somewhere.
I had read the middle story, which was about which was about the teacher and the student and their affair, and it's very different.
Where's the Zuni fetish doll?
It's in the,
well, what's the title of that one? Was that a story he had published originally, or did he write that one specifically?
It was an adaptation of a short story he had originally published. So, Prey was an original story as well.
Do we know what the title of that is? Because everyone just says the Zuni fetish doll, and that's enough for everyone to remember. But I didn't know if they gave any titles of the stories in that, chapter headings or not.
The Zuni fetish doll story is titled Prey.
Prey. Okay, that's right. Prey. Right. Okay, and that's one for the record books for sure. I don't have that one, shamefully. That one was put out on Blu-ray by Kino Lorber at around the same time as they did the Night Stalker movies on Blu-ray. So I need to pick that up. But for that final story, it's worth it. The other one's not so interesting.
Another one that came out earlier in the year. This kicked off the year with a legendary one. Was Satan's Triangle with
now this one
Doug
I
McClure,
saw live.
Kim Novak,
and it spooked the freaking crap out of me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That thing is it's got a scare factor of 11 on a scale of 1 to 10. And
Kim Novak and Doug McClure, and was there a third person in that?
Alejandro Rey played the priest.
Right. Okay. There were two Coast Guard pilots that come on this seemingly abandoned ship, and they find Kim Novak in there, and what ensues is pretty damn creepy.
Yes, it is.
Maybe not so much now. I haven't seen it for a while, but boy, it was creepy when I was a kid.
I rewatched some of it, including its ending, and yeah, again, this is something where it's just like, oh my, you're just like, this still works even today, because they just
a lot of these that do work and are worth watching these days still. Just because they're made for TV doesn't mean they got some big name stars. They got some good scripts and some good atmosphere and creepy music. I don't know who did the music for this one, but I remember that one very vividly. I don't have anything else for 75. Do you?
Well, there was one that aired the same night Satan's Triangle. It starred
the same night? Holy cow.
Same night. It was called The Dead Don't Die. And
I have read about that one.
Oh, I'm blanking on the guy who starred in Love at First Bite, George
Hamilton.
And as a private detective, Reggie Nalder, who played Barlow in The Salem's Lot, he's in it and everything. So you had these two movies competing.
Wow, that sucks, because that one sounds like one I'd really like to watch, because anything with occult detective related is my kind of jam. So,
and then the only other one I have is that I haven't seen it, and I'm going to try not to laugh too much because I don't know. It could be good. But the title of the movie is The Werewolf of Woodstock.
Yeah,
And
you put that one up there, and I
yeah, it
haven't
was,
seen
and
that
I
one.
think it aired on like their late night program, World of Mystery or something at 11:30. But yeah, it's evidently it is about, I think with Michael Parks, but it's about a farmer that gets struck by lightning and then becomes a werewolf, which happens, you know. So
It does.
that's,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
happens. I guess it
it happens,
happens.
you
Yeah.
know. And you know, and that's all I know about it. But I was just like, I'm
Well,
like,
let's see.
okay.
I found something for the Dead Don't Die, which sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's an occult detective kind of story. It's one of those
Got
where it's
Ray
like you
Milland
surprise.
in it too,
Yeah,
supporting supporting George Hamilton. The Dead Don't Die.
yep.
Yeah,
So
and you that sounds pretty cool. And
yeah, it's
you
one I
had some
haven't seen, but I
no.
want to see it. So
Well, and it was on at the same night as Satan's Triangle,
yeah, they both
which
aired
is
on
nuts.
January 14th, 1975. In fact, I clipped the ads. They were like right next to each other, and I'm like, man, that's a yeah.
That'd be a hard one to choose between there. Now let's see. You said the Werewolf of Woodstock. So
Yeah.
was it set during Woodstock, supposedly?
No, it wasn't. It's just
Okay,
in the locale.
just the place, right?
Yeah. After the festival.
Ty
And
Andrews or
yeah,
Tige, I don't know, from the Mod Squad, Meredith McRae from Petticoat Junction, and Michael Parks.
yeah.
Wow.
I don't.
Wide World of Mystery. Must be NBC, I'm guessing, right?
No, it's ABC down there on the
Is that
bottom.
ABC? But it
Yeah.
wasn't their movie of the week one. That was a
No,
different.
they had an alternate program that ran at 11:30, Wide World of Mystery, and that's where they would just show other, you know, that's where they would put like late night shows or stuff that wasn't quite ready for prime time, and do repeats of, like, I think they did a repeat of Bad Ronald on there at one point, and
Well,
everything.
I'm sure I
So
saw some of these on repeats.
oh yeah.
Anything else for 75? Because I don't have anything until 77 and one of my particular strong memories.
No, the next one I have, and I think I
Because
sent you
we
this.
should say it. Sorry, Chad, but we should say that the ABC movie of the week slot ended in 75.
Oh,
So they
really?
did,
Oh,
yeah. According to
pull the
Wikipedia,
plug.
that was the end. They kind of treated them as seasons, and they would, and that
Okay,
it
that
ended
makes
then.
sense. Yeah, the whole early 70s. Yeah,
Yeah, who
you will.
didn't?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the the NBC did the same thing where they had like their mystery movie of the week, and they would rotate it. So you had Columbo and McCloud and whatnot.
Heck
So
Ramsey and
I guess that
McMahon
was
and
an
wife.
experiment that they decided to just stop.
Yeah, I
But
think, or they still had TV movies that, because we, of
oh yeah,
course, a lot of people remember the 80s as being the king of the more melodramatic, sleazy movies of the week, but
yeah,
and miniseries, of course, coming in. But we still had a few more good ones in the 70s.
yeah. The net
I
I
have
do have a 76 one
Okay, let's do that. Which
from
one do you have for 76?
the Savage Bees. Got another
Ah,
Killer
right.
Bee
Now this
movie.
one has also been released by Kino, I believe.
Yeah, November 22nd, 1976. So around
So
the
Killer
time of
Bees wasn't
Thanksgiving.
enough. They had to have they had to have the Savage Bees, so more Killer Bee action.
Yep. And I
Um,
think Ben Johnson was in this one. Yep. And
I love
Michael
Ben
Parks.
Johnson.
So once he got
Michael
cured
Parks
of his
again.
werewolfism, or maybe not, they came in,
Werewolves versus Killer Bees. Now
and
NBC
they all
was
fall
Channel
into
4,
quicksand.
wherever this was. Interesting. Okay. Pretty
But
evocative ads. We should say some of the art on these TV ads, while not always perfect and sometimes simplistic with just a face of a couple characters, but they were pretty effective because these would be kind of larger size ads in the TV guide pages, and they would
yeah,
always be eye catching. And they might even get a little side capsule, kind of not review, but like
yeah, the little like
synopsis of the
close up
plot
where
or
they,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
And those I'm sure shows are always happy to get those. Well, I don't think I can't find anything for 76 myself. I'm sure I'm missing some, but I can't. I'd
That
be
was the
remiss
only
if I.
that was the only one that I got. I was able in the timeline to discover, but yeah.
Well, the one that I remember very fondly is Snow Beast from
Oh
1977.
yeah, if you love the
And
book Snowman by Norman Bogner, this TV movie is for you.
now I didn't never knew about Snowman and by Norman Bogner, put out by Fathom Press or whatever they're called, the Justin's very cool imprint. But until Nick at the Book Graveyard started talking about it, and some others have since then. But Snow Beast, unfortunately, it's not as bloody as my memory. I think there was a severed arm shown at one stage or something, but it's a ski resort, shades of Jaws. Skiers start getting killed, and they don't want to close it down because it's peak tourist season, and there's some kind of seasonal festival going on. Yvette Mimieux, and if this is supposed to be Yvette Mimieux, that's a terrible picture of a very pretty lady. But she gets the top billing there. But it's Robert Logan from the Wilderness Family movies and Big Clint Walker again. No, sorry, Bo Svensson.
Bo Svensson,
yeah, Bo Svensson as
Sheriff
the
Buford
big
Pusser.
game hunter. Yeah, Sheriff Buford Pusser taking over from Joe Don Baker. Yeah, he plays, I think, a kind of hunter or big game hunter is called in to help fight the Snow Beast. And
I remember him being a former Olympic skier. People. So.
Oh, was he Olympic skier? I thought he was a hunter or something, but maybe. Snow Beast, the best scary movie of all time. Yes. Now, 77, I would have been 10 years old or so. Perfect age for this. I remember it vividly. I was able to stay up and watch the whole thing, which was a special deal for me. And of course, I was familiar with Robert Logan, who's kind of disappeared into obscurity now, sadly, from the Wilderness Family movies, which were huge at the time.
Oh, that's right. That's where I recognize the name from. He was okay.
And I thought, did you see this one?
On the 3:30 movie. I mean, I saw it.
But, okay. Yeah. So you saw a repeat of it. Okay.
I saw a repeat of it. But
did it have much of an impact on you as much as it did on me? Because I've always loved, cryptozoology and Bigfoot and Yetis and
big
Loch Ness
Yetis.
Monster.
We're going to get to Bigfoot. But yeah, there's this was one that I was really chomping at the bit to see, because it was one, and when I finally got to see it, it did not disappoint. There was a couple of really good scenes in it that I
remember that the beast was stowing the corpses in a barn somewhere or lodge building, and there's one scene that I haven't seen it since, but where they pull down, the heroes pull down some trap door or something, and all these bodies or body parts are falling out. Yeah. I'm sure I'm remembering it more graphic than it was depicted at the time. This is around the same time that I saw the movie Grizzly on TV, so they would have cut out the nude girl bathing herself in the waterfall before she's killed by the grizzly, but for the TV version. But so that kind of vibe of these killer creatures in the mountains, in the woods, was also very Legend of Boggy Creek came out around this time, and well, I don't know if you have too many more TV movies to talk about, but I would be remiss around this time if we didn't talk about a very creepy show that wasn't trying to be creepy necessarily, but that's In Search of.
Oh yeah.
In Search of the with Leonard Nimoy in sporting some pretty wacky leisure suits and turtlenecks, but he has this great creepy delivery. The music is spooky.
Oh, yeah. I love the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, UFOs, Amelia Earhart,
Snowman, Dracula, etc. Right?
Yeah, I think they even
if you watch them now, there's a bunch of weird ones like Can Plants Talk, and earthquakes, predicting earthquakes and things like that. But you gotta love In Search of. I mean,
oh yeah, that was a staple. I mean, I guess I didn't miss that.
And of course, there would be no of these, what is it? All these shows now that are on, these paranormal shows that are on TV and clogging up the Discovery Channel, etc., without In Search of. I mean,
without In Search of. There would be no Blair Witch Project without In Search of.
no, that's
They did
probably
talk about
that's
that was one of the genesis. They wanted to do an episode of In Search of about missing students, and that is what led to the Blair Witch Project. So,
oh wow, really? That's cool.
yeah,
I didn't that makes complete sense, but I hadn't made that connection before. Here, I think I have an image. I'm sure most everyone that would be the few that are still watching would remember In Search of. Uh, and just gotta love the beautiful sonorous narration from
oh yeah,
Leonard Nimoy, and the creepy, weird intro music, and they talk about, yeah, great stuff. If I had been more prepared, I could have some music playing on here, but we might be hit with some copyright stuff, so maybe it's just
yeah,
as well. But I don't want to go away completely from the TV movies, but I wanted to talk about other TV things as well, including a series like that. So
yeah. And I think it basically falls within under the same umbrella. It's like that, you know.
yeah, and it might
If
even
Snow
fit into
Beast
some of
wasn't
the
on, you
ideas.
could watch In Search of. It was the same thing.
Exactly.
It hit,
I think
you
In
know,
Search of was right around that time, 76, 77, and then
late
went into the early
70s. It
80s.
was on for about 6 or 7 years, I think. But it was like I think it was a syndicated show, but I remember it airing on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah,
But
that sounds familiar to me
you
too.
know, but
And some of the
I've
weird
got
stuff would get on That's Incredible at the time, and
oh yeah,
I think Ripley's Believe It or Not came later in the 80s, right? But
yeah, hosted by Jack Palance. You can believe
yes,
it or not.
believe it or not. Good old Jack
Yeah,
Palance.
your Palance is better than mine.
We got to get that Rick death grin. Guy couldn't help it from his war injury, but anyway, um, I just remember him doing his one-handed push-ups at the Oscars when
Oh
he
yeah.
won for City Slickers. Okay, well, we've been going pretty long. We could go on much longer, I'm sure. But any last final things you want to mention before we close up, Chad? Talking about these, we could always come back and do one on the '80s at another
Yeah,
point.
well, since I guess we can end at 77 because that's where my one of
I
my
did.
pages
I
ends.
forgot to mention that it happened at Lakewood Manor, right?
Oh yeah,
Otherwise known as Ants.
that one was one I remember seeing as a kid, and
Suzanne Summers.
Suzanne Summers, Robert Foxworth, yeah,
Yeah, he's the hero, if I recall, right? Yeah.
yes, the ants act like the shark in Jaws, not like
Yeah.
ants, because they'll come and
Yes.
kill people and then disappear. And anybody who's ever had an ant infestation knows that's not how ants are.
Yes.
Once they're in, they're there. But this is
I
also
think
when it's
Lorber used maybe because some of these probably got airings, theatrical airings in Europe, and they had a close up of Suzanne Summers' impressive cleavage covered with ants. I think for the poster that they used a cover for the Kino Blu-ray release.
Yeah, that was the video box cover as well. I remember that.
That makes sense. Well, and Eriko reminds me very well. Thank you, Eriko, about you blowhards. Yes, we are going on and on. Sorry. About the British side, and of course, that's the best, in my opinion, the very best adaptation of the book, closest to the book, the Louis Jourdan, Frank Finlay version.
That was awesome. That was an awesome show. Yeah,
it's excellently done, and Louis Jourdan as the Count, and it's slow and long and atmospheric, and the wall climbing scene is great. Where the three Frank Finlay is Van Helsing protecting the baby from the Dracula's brides. Mm-hmm. Awesome. It wasn't a condemnation. Keep going. Okay. Well, it sounded like one, David. But anyway, we'd be remiss not to talk about. We probably need to do a separate live stream, really, about all the creepy 70s British TV out there. The more I get into British TV and finding it on DVD and network distributing, late lamented network distributing to put out so many of the ITV stuff, there are a metric ton of great shows, and a lot of them supposedly kids shows that are creepy as hell.
Well, I pulled out a couple of my Doctor Who's from the Hinchcliffe era that were creepy. So you know.
Oh yeah, we got the Hinchcliffe era is full of some fantastic
That
stuff.
was
You've
just
got
like, yeah, Doctor Who meets Hammer. I'm like, I'm
yeah,
on.
Pyramids of Mars and the Brain of Morbius and the giant plant monster one,
Seeds of Doom.
Seeds of Doom. Yeah. Um, and of course the Talons of Wang Chiang and just
Yeah.
fabulous stuff. The Hand of Fear with the creeping hand. They were ripping off from anything they could get and giving it a Doctor Who spin. Have you seen Sapphire and Steel?
No, I have
Sapphire.
not. I need
I
to.
recommend
That's
that.
the David
You,
McCallum one. Yeah.
David McCallum and Joanna Lumley
Oh, that's
as
right.
time
Yeah.
as elements of agents of time, and they're not from our realm. And when there's rents in the fabric of time, they come and repair it, and they each have kind of powers. And these are done in anywhere from 4 to 8 episode stories,
Yeah.
minimalist sets, but they are creepy as f, man. They are. There's one set in an abandoned train station, a ghost story one. The second they're called, I think it's not adventure. What are they? There's only like 6 stories before the show was very popular, but there was a strike on at ITV,
Yeah.
and things happened where weren't able to keep going at a certain point, but it wasn't canceled because it wasn't popular. But that is a very creepy show. It's out on DVD. I highly recommend it. There's a show called Shadows. There's a ton of different ones that are
Oh,
spooky
yeah.
as hell. There's Orson Welles' Great Mysteries has a really good adaptation of The Monkey's Paw that's updated version, and some other ones based off of the Leather Funnel with Christopher Lee, based off of Arthur Conan Doyle's story. Tons, and the the TV they shows supposedly for kids were not talking down. There were some
No.
creeptastic stuff in those, man. Oh, Children of the Stones. That's one I'd recommend highly, which is more of a science fictional thing, but it's creepy. It's filmed in, is it Avebury, where they have the Ring of Stones, and it's like a kind of time loop thing. It's very, very interesting. Very good. Has Gareth Hunt from Blake Seven in that one.
Hmm.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. Oh no, now Doctor Who. Don't worry, we're not going to go into Doctor Who too much. We will be here all night. Another show with 85,000 episodes. Yeah, that's not, take divide that by 10 and you're probably pretty close.
Yeah.
Uh, and we still have Rob here. Thank you. The show Cliffhangers. Yeah.
Michael Nouri
Um,
is Dracula.
yeah, Michael Nori's Dracula. That was the best one. Then there was the remake of the Phantom Empire serial and movie serial type, I mean. And then what was the other one? Stop Susan Anton or Stop Susan something or other. I don't know
Something
what it
like
was
I just
called.
remember I just remember the Dracula one. I remember
Yeah,
the
that's the one that's
promos
worth
for the
remembering.
show, but
That's the only one worth remembering, right? And I
yeah.
think that might have gotten a DVD release. I haven't picked it up, but
They actually edited those episodes together into
into
a
like
faux
a
TV
TV movie or
movie.
something.
So yeah, so there's like
Did it hang
and
together pretty well?
yeah. So it's
That
like it's the credits have like a painting of Michael Nouri turning into a vampire. So
I wonder if it's one of my favorite 80s horror movies, Fright Night. I wonder if the great vampire that in that one, who's the actor who does that one?
Chris Sarandon.
Chris Sarandon. I wonder if his take is somewhat based off of that in a way, because it's kind of the same, you know, medallion wearing, hairy
Yeah.
chested, sexy dude vampire, kind of
Ladies man, ladies of the
ladies man, yeah. That has that scene in the disco where he's chasing and kind of taking putting in thrall the girlfriend in that movie. Anyway, yeah, we should touch on TV terrors and from Britain, but that's a deep hole to go down.
yeah.
So Stop Susan Williams. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, I think it starred Susan Anton or something, didn't it? But I knew it was something like that. She was like a fashion model getting involved in some kind of spy or espionage thing, if I recall, or something. Yes, the Star Wars Holiday Special is horrific in its own way. That's for sure.
I was there. I was there. I watched
I
it that
I remember
night.
it being on, but I didn't watch it. I don't
Yeah.
recall watching it. Yeah, Fright Night is great. Even the remake with Anton Yelchin was pretty good, and Colin Farrell as a more ferocious vampire. Jerry, what was his name? Jerry Dandridge? Is that the character's name?
Jerry Dandridge. Yeah.
And Susan Anton, yeah, leggy Susan Anton, who I believe was she Mrs. Dudley Moore at the time, or am I mixing her up with somebody else?
I think she was.
Anyway, yeah, obviously, Chad, you're like me. Your mind is a sink of pop culture knowledge that doesn't do anyone any good, probably. But
I can wail
you
at certain
spit
things
views.
of Trivial Pursuit, man.
Yeah, exactly. My friends would always roll their eyes when we. Oh no, not a entertainment question. Jeff's here. I'll take it. Literature and the pink and the brown spaces on the board, I would do well on. But we've probably talked enough. We've hit the 2 hour mark. So I just want to end with you want to talk a little bit about your channel, Chadwick, because I know some people might not be familiar with it. That if not, maybe who's watching now know you, but the people who may watch
Yeah.
this later, I hope, after the
Yeah.
Robert E. Howard Foundation one ends. That's where all the people have gone, if
Everybody.
they were going to come at all. But anyway, thanks for the few of you who stuck around. Very appreciated.
Yes.
But Chadwick, talk a little bit about your channel
Okay.
and what's coming up.
Yeah, what's coming up? I'm gonna try. I'm thinking I'm gonna shoot try to shoot the intro tonight.
Thanks, Rob.
At,
Same at you.
after this, because it's kind of appropriate for the spooky. I wrote and directed a short movie called Ghost Talk many years ago, and I'm thinking of
Really?
uploading it to the channel.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see it.
But I'm going with a friend to Las Vegas this weekend to go to the Universal Horror Unleashed attraction in Area 15, and
I haven't heard of
also
that.
we're going to be at the Excalibur, so we have to go to the Tournament of Kings and watch the jousting with ale and turkey legs
Oh,
and
and
whatnot.
you
This
have
is basically,
big
yeah,
haunch of lamb that you're going to be chewing on.
yeah, and going to the Haunted Museum. I don't know if I'm going to be covering that in my stuff of the week or not. We'll see how it goes, but
Wow, you've had and you were because you just came back from Vegas, right? You were there
yeah,
with your wife.
one of our friends turned 50 and she wanted to celebrate there. So it just kind of like happened to coincide where I got 2 weekends and like 2 days off in between trips. So I'm leaving tomorrow and I'm like,
Well, thanks for sandwiching this in anyway. I've
oh,
been
I
meaning to
love it.
have you
Yeah.
on because I could tell right away from what stuff you were talking about. Here's a guy who knows his stuff. This is a
Yeah.
monster kid if ever there was one. Now, I'm not a huge horror guy. I mean, I'd like this stuff at certain times of the year, especially Halloween and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is something like Kolchak I could watch any day of the week. But
Right.
as far as like you cover some of the stuff that's I haven't seen, like some of the 80s squelchy bloody. If there's a monster involved, I'm gonna like it, but I'm a little cooler on this serial killer stuff. And
Right.
I don't know if you're into that or not, but I do know you talk about some of it, and it seems like
Yeah.
you've watched quite a few of those as well.
I grew up on Halloween and Friday the 13th and John Carpenter and Stephen King and I mean, it's just like,
I'm a big fan of the latter two, and I do love the first Halloween. I have that.
yeah,
That's an excellent film, and not
yeah,
particularly bloody, surprisingly, compared to what
nope.
came later.
Yeah.
But
But
well, so you have stuff of the week, and you might put the movie up. You have any more Twilight Zone story reviews coming up or anything?
yeah, hopefully I didn't because of a lot of stuff happened around the house. I didn't get a chance
Sure.
to finish, but there's a short story, the last short story
Thanks, David.
uh in the Twilight Zone magazine. Yeah, I am, dude. You
Yeah, well, I
don't
think
know how
it takes
freaky
one to
I
know
am.
one there, David.
I've got the last story in here, which is Scenic Cruiser and the Silver Lady. So
Okay,
that I have to read,
interesting.
and then I'm going to move on to other issues. I've got I finished Clive Barker's Sacrament, and I might do a review of that. I don't know, but most of this would probably have to wait until next week when I get back. So the most The most
Well, I like the
recent,
eclectic nature of your channel.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
why I
have
named
the
it
animal
Channel of
webcam, the
Stuff.
backyard cam, and
Yep. I put
talk
one
about
up
books.
yesterday. So there,
Yeah, with
after
a
all of
cat
the
and a
inclement
raccoon,
weather, yeah,
rocket
you know,
raccoon.
yep. I got Wile E. Coyote, Rocket Raccoon. We had a feral pig. I named him Wilbur. So Wilbur
And
the
what's the
pig's on the
squirrel's
background.
name?
The squirrel, I don't know, Rocky.
Okay, well, I thought you had a squirrel one that David,
Rocky
because I
J.
don't know if
Squirrel.
you noticed that David talked about you on his last
He
Friday night
did. I'm
chat.
very
He mentioned
flattered, and
your channel.
um, he's very nice. I, I
And
I pulled Tanya and I said, "You got to see this."
well, yeah, and of course, I have I did a kind of a little in light of kind of spurred on by Paul at Geeks Love Dogs, and of course Steve Donahue talking about wanting to move to Osaka, Japan. And I've been thinking about covering some of the bookstores in Japan. So I went to a few bookstores and I did a little bit of vlogging. Not it's my first attempt, and it's a little rough. I had to cut a lot of it out that didn't work. And then I also found surprisingly some books, some worthy books at one of the little bookshops I visited. So it'll be a joint trawl and haul that I'll put up hopefully later today. I'll be on Check Your Shelf. I'm gonna have to refilm that one because we shot something last week and they were using Microsoft Teams and that didn't work. But we were re-recording the review of a cool James Blish werewolf story. There Shall Be No Darkness. We'll be talking about that on their
Good.
channel. And with those guys, and those guys are great. And I'll be hosting a live stream with Jake from Pulp Mortem. We'll be talking about underrated sci-fi movies, our favorite underrated science fiction films, next week about the same time, I think, perhaps a little earlier. But so
You
lots
can
of fun
expect
stuff
me in
coming
the
up.
chat.
What's that?
You can expect me in the chat making
Well,
snarky
I hope so.
comments.
That would be great. Yeah. And I've been meaning to get Jake on, and couldn't really think of any, because he reviews a lot of predominantly science fiction on his channel, and I didn't want to take something away from what else he might be doing with his Ebes guys or whatever. But I figured, hey, movies might work. So, and he
Yeah.
leaped at that idea. So that's going to be great. That should be fun. It's been great having you on, Chadwick. Let's do this again sometime. Maybe you, me, and
Yeah.
David can do something together if we come up with another idea that
Yeah.
sounds good. We're getting a Jeff Flood. Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you, Erico, for sticking around for the whole thing. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And thanks. You have a lot of the same memories we do about this stuff, which is great. Getting a Jeff Flood. Yes. Sorry about that. But that's how it happens sometimes. But anywho, everyone go check out Chadwick's channel if you have who's watching this later on rerun. And if you haven't, please check it out. He covers all sorts of things. Even does jigsaw puzzles, which David
Oh yeah.
usually does, and has been slacking off on his jigsaw geek channel recently. Shame on you, David.
That's
No,
another one
just
that's
teasing.
coming up.
You got it.
I gotta,
You got
I'm
one?
finishing up a puzzle. So
Cool. Nice. All right. Well, anyway, we'll end it there. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope we brought out some cool memories of some of these shows. A couple of geezers talking about our childhood memories of these things.
yep.
But this bad puzzler, bad. Anyway, thanks a bunch for those of you who joined and watched. And thanks, Chadwick. And we will see you guys again somewhere online. Take care, and we'll see you later. Thanks a bunch.